Hey, there's nothing better than a good caramel apple. Hey, it's time for another
Everyday Getaway.
And today we're going to make something kind of fun for October.
There you go. We said that there's nothing like a good old caramel apple, and that's true, but we're going to change it up today. We're going to make a
caramel apple fudge.
There we go. We haven't tried it before, but hey, something new and fun.
Hey, that looks really good.
It does. So let's give it a try. It's a quick set caramel apple fudge recipe. So we're using a pack of caramels. The recipe calls for a 16-ounce pack. We found 12-ounce packs, so we're using that. We're going to just decrease our Eagle brand milk or sweetened condensed milk a bit. Same thing for the green candy melts. It comes in a 12-ounce. It calls for 16, so we're going to do the same thing.
And we found those on sale at Michael's. So.
Yes, we did. And we need 2 cans of sweetened condensed milk. Those are a little bit larger than what needed also because we're using less of these. So we're going to use about 10.5 ounces of sweetened condensed milk with the caramels and 10.5 ounces with the green candy melts. And then we have some apple flavoring, which we found at Michael's also. All right, let's get started.
Okay, so we're going to start off. We have to unwrap all the caramels. They're going to go into one bowl. And then the melts are going to go into another bowl. We're going to mix it up with condensed sweet milk. And then we're going to get started.
All right, we're getting these caramels all opened. And that's taken a little bit of effort. But I think you can buy the melts that are caramel melts. But since it is fall, there are caramels, these little individual caramels. You can get those about anywhere. So we just chose to go that route. It was a little bit cheaper. Like Doug said, we got the candy melts on sale at Michael's for $3.99. The caramels were $2 something. So we just went that route for the caramels. All right, I'm going to be honest. This little caramel and I just had a roundabout because it would not open. That was a pain. But we made it. We got it.
Now the package here does show like a lime green color. They're not quite as bright, but we'll see how it looks.
Okay, both the caramel and the candy melts, we're going to melt them in the microwave. All right, in case you're not familiar with the candy melts, even though they're green in color, they just are white chocolate flavor. We're going to be adding the apple flavoring to this in a bit, but by themselves, even though they're green in color, they are just white chocolate. All right, we're using about 10.5 ounces out of the can, which is 14 ounces, and we're just going to pour that into this melted caramel. It took the little caramels about 2 minutes in the microwave. Doug stirred every 30 seconds. Whoops, but in total, about 2 minutes. All right, one mess for the day. I guess that's not so bad. Once we added the sweetened condensed milk, it does start hardening just a tad, so we might have to go back in the microwave to get it combined really well because it's just with the caramels themselves, even though they're not really cold. They're cold enough to start thickening it. So we'll go back and work on the candy melts a little bit, get those mixed. Then we will throw this back in the microwave just for a few more seconds to get everything combined. All right, we got our apple flavoring at Michael's. It does really smell like apple. I have seen some places to use green apple. We did not find green apple, but I think we normally make our caramel apples with red apples anyway. But we're going to add that to the sweetened condensed milk. And we're just using a teaspoon. Since we did 75% of that measurement before, I went ahead and decreased the amount of apple flavoring. And once we get it mixed up, I'll give it a little taste and see if it's tasting apple-y or not enough. Then we can decide if we need to add more. All right, the sweetened condensed milk does have an apple flavor, but I'm afraid once we mix it with the white chocolate candy melts that we might lose it. So I'm going to go back and add just a little bit more. It does make the sweetened condensed milk really shiny. And once we get that stirred up, we're just going to pour it over into the green melted milk chocolate or white chocolate chips.
Okay, now that we have the apple flavoring mixed in, I'm just going to pour it on in there. And then I'm going to mix it all together.
And the candy melts seem to be more melted than maybe the caramel. It doesn't seem to be solidifying at all. What do you think?
No, it looks good.
Yeah, so I think the caramel we'll have to put back in for a few seconds, maybe 20, 30 seconds. But I think this mixture is going ahead and getting itself mixed up pretty good. All right, we're just going to go scoops of alternating the candy melts and the caramel, and then we're going to end up swirling them together. And this is an 8 by 8 inch pan that we have lined with parchment. So we're going to do a little dabble-do-ya in several spots. And I'm thinking this will end up being a couple layers. So we'll do the first layer and then we'll go back. The caramel at this point, we went back and melted a little bit more, so it's probably a little bit more melted. So I'm going to kind of pour in these offset spots. And then we'll swirl them.
It smells really good.
It does smell good. It does have apple scent. All right. Probably use a knife or anything to swirl. I'm just going to use this, and we're going to swirl it. Layer 2, these blobs are kind of sloshing down into the bottom. That's okay because we're going to mix it anyway. We'll go back with some caramel in the off spaces again. The green color here reminds me of Ghostbusters. I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Good for Halloween.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of a Frankenstein color, but you do really smell the apples. So that's what we want. We're just going to swirl again. And I'm trying just to mix that, like the second layer that I did. I'm not putting this paddle all the way down to the bottom.
Looks pretty.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to hit layer 3 here.
Last little bit. Now, I have seen green apple flavoring, like I said, but it would have had to been ordered. And Michael's had the regular apple in stock. We normally try to do our Tuesday recipes on a budget. I will say we spent a little bit more on this one than normal because we bought the candy melts and we had to pick up that flavoring. The flavoring came in a 2-pack and it was like $5 for the 2 bottles. But I'm thinking it can be used multiple times. All right, almost got it here. Doing it. Starting to thicken a little bit. On the last swirl, I can tell that things are a little bit more congealed than they were the other 2 times.
Okay, now we're going to stick it in the refrigerator for about...
like 4 hours.
About 4 hours, and we'll see what it looks like.
Before we tell you what we think, we just want to take a moment and say thank you for those of you who watch for Tuesday videos from us, and you tune in and watch the whole thing. We really appreciate it.
We're almost at 3,000 subscribers, so if you would do us a big favor, share this video out, hit that like button, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you know somebody that likes a good, easy recipe, quick recipe, share it with them.
And just folks like to try something different. We love to try new things, and so a lot of our recipes are things we've just, let's give it a try. And it just kind of adds to the joy of living. So.
And we do have a recipe coming up with that leftover Halloween candy.
There you go.
So it'll come out in a couple of weeks. So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
And we've got one more Tuesday before Halloween. So we've got one more yummy Halloween treat or fall treat that can be used towards your Halloween fare. All right.
Okay, let's get into what we think. Okay, so that wasn't too hard.
No, it wasn't hard. Now, I think we've learned something. The recipe called for caramel candy melts.
And that's what we should have done.
That's what we should have done. I had already purchased regular caramels, and I just didn't go back and buy the caramel melts.
I think the caramel had too much creaminess in it already.
Right. The caramel melts were also $4.99, but on sale at Michael's for $3.99. Like I said, I'd already purchased caramel, so I didn't do them, and I've not tasted them. I'm assuming since they're called caramel melts, they taste like caramel.
I would think so.
The other ones are just by color, so I'm thinking they have a caramel taste. Here's the problem.
This is how it looked at.
Yeah, the caramel's a little goopy, and that is we're wearing different clothes. It's the next day. We did let it set in the fridge overnight, thinking maybe it would go and harden up the portion that tastes like the apple that has the chocolate in it. It is nice and firm, but the caramel is still loose. So if you use the caramels, I would use less.
And we might try it again with the caramel melts.
Right, just to see
just
how it
stay
tastes.
away from the caramel.
Right. If I did the caramel, I think I'd just cut way back on or not Eagle Brand, but Sweetened Condensed
Yeah,
Milk.
it's about the same price.
All right,
So.
but let's give it a try. Now, it smells yummy. It is we got a little goop going with caramel. I can smell the apple in it.
It really has great caramel apple flavor.
Yes, it does. It's almost like the caramel has gotten a little warm on the apple, and you bite into it.
Yeah, I would say for the flavor, it's a hit.
It's a hit. I would say, honestly, 10 out of 10 for the flavor. I really like it. For the consistency, I think I'd have to back off and try the caramel melts next time.
Hey, but thanks again for joining us. Let us know if you tried it yourself, and let us know how you liked it.
All right, take care of yourselves, take care of others, and we will see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Join us next week as we make a family fun Frankenstein Rice Krispie treat.
We will include the recipe in the description box of the video, but just using the candy melts, no caramels included.